Welcome back to my channel and a Happy New Year to each and every one of you. A Buddhist gentleman went up to a hot dog vendor and he said, "Make me one with everything." And the vendor laughed because surely that is the aim of being a Buddhist, to be one with everything. So anyway, then he cracked on. He split the bun, he put the sausage in, the onions, the mayo, the relish, whatever you get with a big hot dog. And he passed it to the Buddhist gentleman and he said, "That'll be $4, please." The Buddhist gentleman opened his wallet, took out a $10 bill and passed it over to the vendor. And then they stood looking at each other. And the vendor ultimately said to the Buddhist gentleman, "Did you want something else?" And the Buddhist gentleman said, "Change?" And the vendor said, "Ah, but sir, change comes from within." That's how we want to talk about today in a lot of ways. Change comes from within us. We have the power, we have the authority, we have the ability to change, but we have to want it more than anything else. And that's what I'm feeling fired up towards at the start of this year. We have to want it more than anything else. A lot of people have gone through the Christmas period, and at my group this morning, I think the weight gain over the Christmas New Year period was £408 and the weight loss was 115.5. That was the weigh-in after New Year because a lot of people skipped the Christmas weigh-in because they couldn't face it. The truth is we have to face it sooner or later. You know, let's just do it, get it over with and get on with it. But I think this morning at group we were very much all looking for motivation to get on with it. Because talk is cheap. We can all talk the talk. Gosh, you can sit in your chair with a piece of cake in your hand and a cup of coffee in the other hand and talk the talk. But to actually get the results, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to be egotistical enough to say, to get the results I've got, because I have, and I'm not going to hide my light under a bushel. To get the results I've got, you've got to do it. That's why I didn't have a big gain at Christmas, because I chose not to overindulge. In fact, I chose to just live the plan because it's normal now. I love that word, normal. First time in my life I've ever been normal. I'm not normal in every way, but I'm normal around food. And believe me, that is more than a blessing. So yeah, change comes from within, but it doesn't come from talking about it. It comes from doing it. I think, what was it? I said something in my video last week that forgotten her name, the nice lady from New Zealand, Debbie Blinker, that Debbie picked me up on. It's about action. We've got to take action. It's not luck that will get you a weight loss, it's action. And being on it and off it, if that's what you choose to do, you know, that's very entertaining and it's very limiting because it doesn't get you where you want to go. It just stalls your journey. You know, you're going to take the... It's all right to go the long way around. I think I went the long way around. I mean, I didn't lose 13 stone in 5 minutes. It took me 4 or 5 years because I did a big chunk of it, then I plateaued, then I did a big chunk of it, then I plateaued, then I joined Slimming World and I lost the last 4.5 stone. It isn't a quick fix. It isn't a diet. And I think increasingly we'll lose sight of the fact that it isn't a diet. We're going to smash it, we're going to run away with it, we're going to do it in 2 weeks, but we're not. And smashing it is fine the first week, God almighty, we can all do that. Let's get the water weight off. You know, the number of people in group this morning who've said like, next week I want to lose half a stone, next week I want to lose 6 pounds, next week I want to lose whatever. Do you know, when you've been pigging out and stuffing your face and gaining water weight, that's the easy week. But what I would say is look at what you get in the 2nd week and the 3rd week and the 4th week, because they're the weeks that will carry you on. We can all smash it in the 1st week. If I decided to be totally radical and change what I eat, I could do it at 9 stone. I could have a big weight loss next week. But I choose not to do that because 9 stone's target and that's where I'm living. So controversial, maybe. Truth, definitely. So what was I going to talk about, Joe? I gave him a little list because my memory is atrocious. I think it was results next, yeah?
Yep.
Right, my result this morning, I'm not going to say it's disappointing because it isn't. My result this morning was that I gained £1.50. I did exactly the same on New Year's Eve that I chose to do at Christmas. I had a bag of nuts. I had a different bag of nuts. I didn't eat them all. I ate, I think there were 250 grams. I probably ate 180. They were nice. They weren't outstanding. They were organic, but they weren't any different to any other nuts. But I ate them, that was fine. I had a couple of glasses of Zinfandel. So I went over on my sins. By eating that, I went over on my sins that day. That's all I went over by. The rest of the week, I have had a very normal on-plan week. But because I've been eating different sushis this week, I've still been having 2 packs a day, but I've been eating different sushis, trying out lots of new ones. I actually only ate, disregarding the nuts on New Year's Eve, I actually only ate 68 sins over the week, which is way too low for me. So that'll be changing next week. So a gain of £1.50. But that's not disappointing because I was looking back on my stats, and on the 1st of November I weighed 9 stone and half a pound. On the 1st of December I weighed 9 stone. On the 1st of January, or first weigh-in I mean, of those months, I weighed 9 stone and half a pound. That's maintaining. And again, you know, forgive my ego, but that's maintaining. If I can maintain for 3 months within half a pound, I've even surprised myself doing that. Because I just write my figures down in my computer every week, but it's only at the month end. Well, the first weigh-in of this month, I'll look back to see what I did the first weigh-in of last month. I'm generally within half a pound over or half a pound under. This, for me, is living the dream. Now, bits of news from group. There's going to be a new hi-fi bar on the 20th. Doesn't interest me at all, but some people who don't get to group might want to try and get hold of them. You can buy them online now, I believe. And it's going to be Millionaire's Shortbread. There's also a new book coming out in February, which will of course be sold first of all with the countdowns. I believe at the moment, if you join and buy a countdown, there's no joining fee. I think that's good. It saves you a tenner. That's a good saving. What else about group? Our consultant and her husband are back after 3 weeks in Florida, and her voice was just about going this morning, standing at the front of the meetings, addressing big meetings today. Because through the door this morning between the 2 groups, we've had 206 people. I was laughing with her and saying she's a victim of her own success. She's a fabulous consultant, and it doesn't matter how many new members we get in the room. By the time we sit down to do image therapy, she knows every one of their names. I know by trade she's a lecturer, she's used to dealing with people, but I find that really impressive and really welcoming. Because I've been in meetings before where I've been there for 6 months and the consultant still didn't know my name. That's demoralising. So it was an excellent meeting this morning. We went through the new plan for everybody. Gets everybody off to a level start. Now I have to stand here before you and be totally honest. I am a bit peed off with Slimming World. Not with the plan, with Slimming World. Because the one thing they haven't done, or don't seem to have done, with the new plan is make it in an accessible format for blind people. I have the plan on CD from nearly 4 years ago. They didn't update it with the last changes. They don't seem to have done it again. And while I know this plan well enough to work it, and I can rely on Joe when he's around to look me up this and look me up that, and Debbie is fantastic. If I text Debbie, she'll find me anything. But I shouldn't need to do that. I should have that plan in an accessible form the same as you do. And I'm not the only blind person who works this plan, so I think, look out Slimming World, you've made me cross. I may well do something about it, I'm thinking about it. Purely because if I said to you today, let's call you Teresa, okay? If I said to you today, Teresa, come with me and join Slimming World. It's the best thing you could ever do. I really, really believe that. And you came along with me and they said to you, hi Teresa, lovely of you to join. There's your plaque. There's your pack. It's in Polish. Or there's your pack. It's in Arabic. Or there's your pack. It's in whatever language. And you'd say, but how can I work that plan? I can't access that. Well, that's a bit how I'm feeling today. I'm feeling like you've given me this pack of books that I can't access. I actually said to Joe the other day, and he was mad with me, I said, I'm going to sell the bloody thing on eBay. I've never sold anything on eBay in my life. I don't intend to start now. But my point was, it's about as much use to me as a chocolate fireguard, or as I said to Susan the other day, chocolate condom. It's no good having a plan you can't access and then being expected to, when I say being expected, I mean expecting myself, because I'm a perfectionist, expecting myself to get it right all the time. I've got a decent memory for statistics and information and stuff like that, but I'm not better than a written book. I need to be able to just flick through some information, whether that's on a Daisy disc, an Audible disc, or something accessible to me. Because there are going to be times when Joe isn't here. You know, he's not here 24/7. He has a life and a job and a social life. And I am just feeling a bit peed this morning. But I need to let that go, because certainly I'm not going to eat over it. And I'm not cross. I just feel disappointed in head office, because I am not the only blind person who works this plan. Now, they can offer it me in large print, which again is about as much use as giving it me in Greek or German. But never mind, I will. If I'm mad enough, when I've stopped and calmed myself down, if I'm mad enough, I'll do something about it. I think my first port of call will be the area manager, because my consultant has done her best and there's nothing she can do. So, yeah, I'm just sharing how I'm feeling. Next point on my list.
Was it about the healthy extras?
Oh yeah. When we went through the plan, interesting stuff came up, and one of the new ladies asked the question, is it okay, like I've seen on social media, is it okay to split healthy extras? So if I want to use half of my healthy extra for cheese and half of my healthy extra for milk, is that okay? And Naomi thought, and then she said, no. And I have to say, my little self was sitting there going, go Naomi, go, because there is nowhere, absolutely nowhere in the book where it says you do that. Now, come on, we've got 2 healthy extra A's now, why do we need to be splitting anything? And it's true, there is nowhere in the book where it says, if it doesn't suit you, split your healthy extras. What you do, and this is not just my opinion, it's what it says in the book, is you use a healthy extra, you weigh and measure it. Okay, somebody might say, I've got, I don't know, what quantities do milk come in? I've got 400 mils of skimmed goat's milk, because that's what I used to have, didn't I? I've only drunk 300 mils of it today. I would say that's fine. You started off with your 400, you haven't exceeded it. You can't just be making yourself a cup of coffee before you go to bed just to use up your extra 100 mils. And I can see that I think that's fine. But what I think was getting a bit dangerous was all this weighing and measuring, and I'm going to have a bit of cheese and I'm going to have a dash of this, and I'm going to have, I'll have a bit of grated cheese or a bit of parmesan and 2 dashes of whatever milk. That's not plan. So I really felt positively encouraged when Naomi said no. In this group now, we do, well we always have done really, but we do what it says in the book. Because then if it doesn't work, you've got a comeback. You can't be going off at a tangent and doing it your own way and then blaming Slimming World. So in future, no, we don't split healthy extras in our group at all. And I was really pleased to hear that. Another question that a dear lady who's a Target member asked was, do I have to use all of my sins? And Naomi said, no, you have a choice. It says 5 to 15, doesn't it? Why do you think this is a problem? You know, you're a Target member, why are you voicing this problem? And the lady said, well, it's because I always used to have milk for my healthy extra A and sin cheese. Now I'm 6 sins better off because I'm not sinning cheese. I'm sitting here at a loss thinking, what am I going to do with those 6 sins? Can I just drop them? Do I have to eat them? And I think Naomi's, well, the way I heard Naomi answer that question.
Surely as long as you're above 5, you just leave it.
Yeah. And the way I heard Naomi answer that question was,
some people have funny questions.
Find a balance. I mean, if the lady's shifting the cheese to being a healthy extra, her balance is still going to be the same anyway, because your body don't know the difference between a healthy extra and a sin. or free food and speed food. It just takes out of it what it needs, and it's just a way of controlling the calories. But one exciting thing I did find, and again very encouraging, the ladies in our group who were two of them Target members spoke and said they had both started the new plan last Saturday. As Target members, they did the new EE plan. One lost 3.5 pounds, one lost 3. And that to me is proof it works. It works. So yeah, my thing for me is like, keep it as simple as you can. If you want the answer to the question, it's in that book. I mean, I call it my Slimming World Bible, and the word Bible doesn't mean Christian, it means a collection of books. Now, in that handbook that we've got, you have got a collection of books in effect, because you've got your healthy extra information, you've got your sins information, you've got your free food and speed information. It's a collection of books, a synergy plan. You'll find the answer in that book. And if you can't find the answer in that book, go to your consultant. Don't go to social media. Because I've watched quite a lot of social media this week. I've watched people I've never watched before. There are some fabulous vloggers out there, but a lot of us make mistakes. A lot of us get it wrong. A lot of us give misinformation and we misquote things. Not because we want to be devils and we want to cause problems for other people, because we're not perfect. You know, if I might come on here today and give you a sin count, that is way out. I mean, somebody in group this morning stood up and said, I have whole milk, I can have 175 mils. She sat down, nobody mentioned it, and I just said at the end of the thing, excuse me, but it's 200 mils now. She hadn't realised. I watched a fabulous video last night. If you want to see how this plan works, this new plan works, I mean, Debbie's put up a couple of fab videos, but there's a really good one up by Nikki Ryan. Simplicity itself. She tells it like it is. She keeps it really simple. She doesn't try to explain stuff. She just tells it like it is. My goodness, I'd like to go to one of her groups one day. And this is the encouraging thing. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. This plan is 50 years old. It started with a tiny little booklet, navy blue booklet, because I started Slimming World when it was about 5 years old, I think. Started with a tiny little booklet. 4 years old when I first went. Tiny little booklet that was a navy blue booklet, and it was called J&M Slimming. I've forgotten the J. I think she was Janet somebody. So she started this organisation with Margaret. Margaret claims all the credit now. You know, I started this programme 50 years ago in a Scout's hut. She did, but I don't know what happened to Janet. Whether she fell by the wayside or maybe she put the weight back on. I don't know. She's probably as human as the rest of us. But 50 years of experience in that book. And like Naomi said, you know, if somebody gave us the book that was around 10 years ago, would we be getting the best out of this plan? No, we wouldn't. You could all be like me. I've got the one that was around 3 or 4 years ago because that's the latest they've given me. But hey ho, I'm not going to be bitter. I'm trying my hardest. But follow the book. Don't follow social media. Watch people and enjoy them, because there are some lovely, lovely people. But don't follow us. Don't do as I say. You can do as I do if you want. It's working for me, and I'll share what's working for me, but it will be from the book. I'm not going to say to you, have you thought of trying this? I've had a marvellous idea. It's from the book. Bottom line, it's from the book. So, yeah, very, very good week. Now, talking about change coming from within, talking about new beginnings, something that strikes me is the number of times I've heard this week in group and from a friend on a conversation with a friend on the phone the other day who said it, we talk about drawing a line. Now, Naomi does this thing in our group where she'll do this, like drawing a line and then step over it. Because I think what a lot of us do, and I've done it myself at least 100 times, is we draw a line. We say it's Friday night, I've had enough, I'm drawing a line. It's Monday morning, I'm drawing a line, I'm starting again. It's the first of the month, I'm drawing a line. It's my birthday, I've had my birthday, it's out of the way, I'm going to draw a line. The one thing a lot of us omit to do is step over that line. Because if I'm standing in a country called morbid obesity, unless I step over that line and do something different, I'm going to stay in a country called morbid obesity. I really believe to get something different, you've got to do something different. You keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. You keep going to Aldi and doing the same old shop, eating the same old meals, you'll get the same old results. I'm not knocking Aldi, because I shop in Aldi. But what I'm saying is, sometimes we've got to change. We can't, if we want to change our shape, we've got to change our behaviours. Now that might be something as simple as changing your shopping, changing where you shop, changing what you buy, changing the portion size, changing how many times you eat a day. If you're anything like I used to be, I never stopped eating long enough. I said to somebody in a comment the other day, I was a grazer. I never stopped eating long enough to call anything a snack. Because I never snacked, I just ate. I just ate and ate and ate. I don't do that now. I choose to eat 3 meals a day. The plan says eat 3 meals a day. It says eat snacks in between, make them speed where you can. It doesn't say stick an apple on the side of everything and call it food optimising. It doesn't say take a handful of spinach, put it on your plate, and that's the only veg you've got and call it food optimising. A handful of spinach might weigh 10, 15 grams. That is never going to be a third of your plate. A third of your plate is a third of your plate in bulk and weight and everything. So you cannot say, I'm going to take this spaghetti bolognese, remove a third and replace it with a handful of spinach. Because a third you've removed might have weighed 200 grams. That handful of spinach is 15 grams and about 8 calories if you're lucky. You won't do it. It doesn't work like that. Likewise, you know, for my lunch I'm going to have, I don't know, a mugshot and half an apple. That's diet, diet, diet. I know because I've done it 100 times. That's not food optimising. You need a third protein, a third carb, a third speed. Right. Joe always says eat your speed first. It's
designed, eat your speed and protein first, fills you up more.
It's designed to fill you up. You can still clean your plate, you can still eat carbs, but it'll fill you up more. So we were talking about getting a weight loss, and Joe quoted something to me that, what's the chap called?
Zach Perna, P-E-R-N-A.
Zach Perna. You'll find him on YouTube, yeah?
Yep.
And what is it that Zach says about starting a weight loss plan?
Well, he was saying that I thought about this, to be honest. Like when you're losing weight, you really want to like smash it and get the weight off as fast as you can. You just want it kind of over with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you start restricting yourself and you start doing like countless hours of cardio, or you start doing like unrealistic things to like get the weight loss faster. And you think those things are going to get the weight off faster, but really they're just make you want to quit.
So faster. You'll quit faster.
Yeah, you just make you want to quit faster because you can't keep it up, and you've got nothing to take out when you start stalling and plateauing.
That's a good point, because when I started on this plan, you know, I was one of the people who wanted to start this plan and restrict my sins to 0 and probably only have 1 healthy extra. And I actually started this plan as a vegan 3.5 years ago, and for my first 3 or 4 months I was vegan. Found that too hard on this plan. I can do a vegan day, like that's simple. But it's not the best way for me today because I need protein. I know you can get protein as a vegan, but I didn't. I wasn't very good at that bit. Because I started like with a really tight belt and really restricting myself. Well, I was on a diet, let's be honest with myself. Because I started like that, I could not keep it up. So after that first 3 or 4 months with a not brilliant weight loss, I was ready to quit. I'd had enough. I thought, I can't live like this for the rest of my life. And that's when I sat down and I talked to my consultant, and she said to me, you're trying too hard. This is not a diet. Do what it says in the book. I started to do what it said in the book. I started to lose the weight steadily, pound, pound and a half pound, pound and a half pound, whatever. I've never been a massive loser. I'm not somebody, I mean, in my first week I could probably shed 5-6 pounds. But
well, realistic fat loss wise is like ½ pound. Of actual fat. That's going some. You've got to be in a decent deficit to lose ½ pound of fat.
Yeah. Everybody this week who's shedding, 4 to 10 pounds or whatever, it's water, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is great. You want the water out because you've got to get your water levels right as much as you've got to get your fat levels down, as much as you need to get your muscle levels up, because the more you get your muscle levels up, the better you burn calories. The whole thing works together. You know, nature knows so much more than we do.
But it's counterproductive to aim for big losses like £2, £3, £4 because it's just unrealistic, and
it'll go on
you can't
like
keep that up.
It'll go on like that. It'll go fast.
Yeah, it goes on fast
off the wagon when you can't keep it up. You know, you might have lost quite a lot, quite quickly, but you'll put it on just
And the
as
thing
quickly
is,
and
the
not quickly.
bigger deficit you create for yourself, so the less you eat per day, the stronger your cravings are going to be.
We've experienced this, haven't we?
Until it gets to a point where all you think about all day is junk food. And
Yeah.
you can't live like that, because eventually your willpower will snap and you can't keep it up.
And then you binge.
And then you binge, and then you're back where you started.
Yeah, crash and burn, crash and burn. And that's a cycle that a lot of us have had experience of repeating for a lot of years. So what we're looking at the moment is, we were saying, we believe, follow the book, aim to lose a moderate amount each week, because moderate amounts add up. And then I said to Joe, I remember like a couple of years ago, somebody bought me...
I'm sorry, we're at like 26 minutes.
Oh, got to be fast, run out of time. Somebody bought me one of these a couple of years ago. This is called a Terra Mundi. Right, this is my new one for Christmas. It's got 1 coin in it. Right, that's my small savings. I never used to save anything. My husband told me I should save a little often. Right, I started to save a little often. That, I'm going to say it, it's got 1 £2 coin in it. Okay? This one, which I can hardly pick up, has got £800 worth of £2 coins in it, because I've saved a little often. It's taken me 2.5 years to get to the 800 quid. I've had to buy a new pot, because this one I can hardly get any more in it. So this week this will be being banked. But my point is, a little often, even if it takes you 2.5 years, will get your weight off. So in 2.5 years' time, you might be 2-3 stone down. If you play the game where it's off fast, on fast, in 2.5 years' time, you might weigh more than you do today. And that's the voice of experience. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what I've done. Been there, done that, not going there again. So change comes from within. Change what's not working for you to something that will work for you. Slimming World, follow the book. Remember, it works if you work it, it won't if you don't. We'll be back next Saturday. Bye.